What's up guys, welcome back to the Strong.Sistas YouTube channel. In today's video, I am here with Momma Strong to make some bone broth. So Mama, why do we want to consume bone broth? It's okay, we'll walk through it, come here, it's okay. Okay.
It's good for you.
Yeah, so it has a ton of vitamins and minerals if we're using the right bones. So what kind of bones do we want to source from? Like what kind of farms do we want to source from?
Grass-fed.
Grass-fed and finished regenerative farms, because those bones will have more nutrients, right?
Yes.
Because they are consuming high quality forage, they're walking around, getting good exercise.
Okay.
So what other reason do we want to consume bone broth? For
a long life.
Yeah, for some collagen. So bone broth, when cooked well and gets wiggly jiggly, will have a lot of collagen. And collagen has an amino acid called glycine that's important to balance the amino acid methionine in muscle meat. So if someone is eating a lot of muscle meat, high in methionine, they should balance that with some bone broth, like Papa Strong, right?
That's right.
So that's why you ordered some bones from Apsey Farms to make a bone broth, because
Yes.
you want Daddy to be healthy, and so balance that muscle meat intake. He eats a lot of steak, which is good, but he needs to balance it with some bone broth. So you ready to make some bone broth?
Yep.
All right, let's make some bone broth. So here we have the ingredients for today's bone broth. There are many ways to make bone broth, but we're gonna make it today with some beef bones and some chicken feeties. So Mama, do you know what type of bones these are?
Soup bones.
Soup bones, they're largely marrow bones. You can see the marrow in the center here. There's also some from like around the ribs as well. So we got the marrow bones. This is gonna give us a lot of marrow, nourishing fats, and then also a lot of vitamins and minerals from the bone itself. And then we've got some pasture-raised chicken feeties. Do you know why we add the chicken feeties?
No.
This will ensure the wiggle jiggle of the broth. So this ensures that there's a lot of connective tissue. So this is really giving us... The nails are on there. That's okay. That's okay. That's going to break down into good collagen gelatin. So we've got the vitamins and minerals from the bones, and then we've got a lot of collagen, because look at how much skin there is on these chicken feeties. So these are really going to ensure the wiggle jiggle. So we've got about 5 pounds of marrow bones and 10 chicken feeties, and then you can choose some fresh herbs. So we just have some fresh thyme here, which you can preserve herbs longer by letting them sit in some water. So ready to make some broth?
Ready.
So step 1, we are going to roast the beef bones at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. This just ultimately adds a little bit of flavor to the broth from the roasted bones. All right, so after about 15 to 20 minutes roasting, we're going to place the bones in the crock pot. Very nice. Now Mama, pour the chicken feeties on top. Pour it on. Add a few sprigs of fresh thyme. One more. All right, now we're going to pour in some water. So normally don't really measure the water, but we're going to measure it today. The goal is to typically just have water come right to the top of the bone line. We're going to measure out how much we have. It'll depend on how big your bones are, how many bones you use. So we added about 14 cups of water, but honestly just pour it in until you kind of get to the top of the bone line here. And then we are going to cover and cook on low for 24 hours. All right, Mama, after 24 hours, the final step is to just strain out the broth and separate all the components. Once we pull out all of the really big bones, next we're going to just pour the broth and the rest of the stuff through a strainer on top of a big bowl. All right, Mama, so we've got the golden goodness, so all the broth, and you're gonna put this in the fridge when you get home, okay?
Yep.
And you see all of that? That's the marrow and the fat, so that's gonna separate from the broth itself. You can ultimately keep some of that in there and reheat it. It'll add a nice flavor, or you can pull all of that fat off. It's gonna be a nice thick white layer, and you can save that for sauteing eggs and meats. So you can use that for sauteing stuff, okay?
Okay.
And so putting it in the fridge overnight and letting it cool, that's going to test for the wiggly jiggly. And if it's wiggly jiggly, what does that mean?
It's good.
It's got collagen, good amount of gelatin. Yep. All right, and then we've got the bones and some of the chicken feedy parts heading to compost. And last but not least, all the muscle meat and tendon from around the bones. Mama, honestly, this tastes like shredded meat. But see all that gelatin in there too? You want to try a bite?
Sure.
Okay, it's like slow cooked beef. Isn't it tasty?
Mm-hmm.
Really good. So we're gonna bring that home, okay? All right, so Mama, bone broth is a protein, right?
Yes.
It is not a complete protein though, so you also need to make sure that you're consuming muscle meat, okay? So you can't just consume these collagen sources. It's important to have your muscle meat and your collagen so that way you get all the amino acids, okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. All right, so like I mentioned, this is just one easy way to make bone broth. There are many other methods and bones that you can use to make bone broth. Mama, what questions do you have about bone broth making?
None.
None?
It's fairly easy.
Fairly simple?
Watching you.
So how many times are you gonna do it a week?
Maybe once or
That's okay.
every other week.
Once, or let's try one a week, okay?
I'll try.
And how many cups do you want to have a day?
2.
We can start with one cup a day. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Bye.
Until our next video, make sure you're behaving like
An angel.
an angel.